Greetings, Manchester. You're in tune to the search engine. Legacy 90.1. Big shout as always goes out to the one and only Tiny G, keeping you rocking drive time style. Every Thursday, dancing DJ. Moving on very swiftly this evening because we need to, because it's a cram-packed show. As you know, search engine, you know how we do it, bringing you chat, discussion, information. And as always, your views and opinions are wanted, needed, and much, much, much appreciated. And it's no different this evening. The ways you can get involved. You can get involved with the text on text line number 075 9964 2626. Or again, this evening we are online, so you can join us on Legacy Facebook page. That's Legacy 90.1 FM. And you can also go on the search engine YouTube page, which is SEUK Global. That's SEUK Global. So you can join us on there and you can share with us any of your comments and your questions for the guests that we have this evening. And boy, I don't know how many guests we're going to have this evening, to be honest. We're starting with around, I don't know, 7. It's gone up now. What we're going to be talking about this evening is various topics, I should say. Do you remember the Windrush? Do you remember that? It's not gone away. Still going on. People still trying to get their lives together. In Manchester and right across the UK, there's been many people that have been supporting, many people that have been caught up in this in many different ways. And here in Manchester, one of the organisations that has been doing a lot of work has been the Windrush Defenders. And this evening, we're going to link back up with them. It has been a while. They've been doing some amazing work, linking right across the country, as well as what they've been doing here in the UK on so many levels that they want to share with you and keep you up to date. And as always, they're always spreading out their hand, asking for support and whether you want to get involved. So we're going to be talking to quite a few people this evening about various projects that they're involved in. I'll introduce them as they come on. And in fact, what I'll do, because this evening, one of the main facilitators and organisers for the Windrush Defenders has been Anthony Brown, and he's going to be supporting me and co-hosting the show this evening. So I am going to, I'm going to get Anthony to help me to give a little introduction to what we're going to be speaking about this evening, before we start bringing in the different other speakers that we have that are going to share their information. I don't expect that we're going to be too controversial, although you can never say how something's going to touch people. So as always, we're here to just share information and knowledge, not here to upset or to make people angry or anything like that. So let me just give our caveat: the views and opinions expressed on the search engine are not necessarily the views and opinions of Legacy 90.1, although I say I don't expect us to be getting too controversial this evening, but as you know me, I don't really mind. I don't mind at all. So let me go over and say good evening to Anthony. Good evening, Anthony.
Good evening, Anthony.
Yeah, that's good. You got a good name there. So as I said just now, you know, I want to get started quite early because I know we've got a lot of guests that are coming through the show this evening. Can you just give us a quick introduction about yourself, just, you know what I mean, and just tell us a bit about what we can expect this evening, yeah?
Yeah, so I'm Anthony Brown. I've been active in the community for a number of decades now. I've been dealing with the Business Federation with small businesses and also Carnival, but I got caught up in the Windrush scandal because I was threatened with deportation in the 80s. But then roll on 2018, when the Windrush scandal broke, we had meetings at the Windrush Millennium Centre, and they gave us a lot of support in terms of meetings for the community. We went on marches, and we marched in July 2018 to call for a Windrush Act. And I remember doing an interview with you then and talking about that, we needed a Windrush Act to repair some of the damage that had been done. So tonight we're going to update you on what has happened since. So we've created an organization, well, a number of organizations, and we've been working with the next generation, because we believe this is an intergenerational issue. So they will be giving their take on Windrush and what they've been doing and how they see the future. And also we'll be talking about some of the initiatives and the projects that we've been taking, and some of the people that we've met on the journey since 2018. We've met a number of people around the country, some brilliant people, and we've come together and formed a national organisation. So we'll be hearing from many of those, and we work closely with people in the region, particularly with people in Preston, which is just up the road. And it's become a kind of capital for us, because as some people described it, we've got a free talk on Zoom, and it's become like our national parliament, where we come and discuss all the issues and decide on what action we're going to take about them. And we've been on a letter writing campaign recently, and we wrote to the Home Secretary, and she responded, and the response didn't go down very well. And so we're now seeing how we can get more support to address some of the issues that people face with regards to compensation and rectifying their status.
Excellent. So just tell us then a bit of the people who are going to be joining us this evening, and I don't know if maybe they'll touch on a bit of the areas that they'll be talking about, but yeah.
So we created Windrush Defenders Legal, CIC, a community interest company, which means that we're not for profit, and we're lawyers, community organisers, solicitors. We've come together, and we're tackling the issues around getting people their legal status and compensation. So we've got some of the directors from WD Legal. We've also got Channels Research Group, which is the next generation, and they facilitated a digital forum on Windrush Day, 22nd of June, and that was very successful. And they have produced a report called Burning Work, and it deals with the 5 themes that we feel we need to prioritize in terms of dealing with some of the issues that face our community, because the Windrush scandal, as people call it, didn't just affect people with regards to immigration. It permeates into people's lives across the board. It affects community cohesion, it affects criminal justice, it affects education, health, and work. So what created the Windrush scandal was institutional racism. And we all know that institutional racism doesn't just exist in the Home Office. It's spread across all these areas. So when you construct laws that are born out of that, the knock-on effects don't just affect the generation when the law was passed, it affects generations down the line, and that's what it's been doing with the Windrush scandal. And,
okay, Anthony, we're going to have to go for a break in a bit, yeah, but the waiting room getting quite full. You've kind of got quite a few guests. So I'm going to have to bring a few into the here to just to create some room. So who's the first one that I need to be bringing in?
If you can bring in George, Sarah,
George, who else?
And Jerome.
Jerome might be trying to get in. Nigel?
Not Nigel, not yet.
Okay, right. So we're going to go for a break, and then we'll come back and we'll sort this out in the break. So I'll come back to you in the break, and we'll see who else has got in there. Because when we go to the break, we're only going to a break on the radio airways. We will still be live on here. So I'll bring a few people in just to allow other people to get in. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just bring a few people in at the moment. It may not be their time to speak, but okay, listeners, we'll be right back. We're just going to take a break. I'll see you in a bit.
Feel the vibe on Legacy.
This is a reminder.
Okay then, Anthony. So
yeah, is Christopher here?
Christopher, let's have a look. Andrew, Joan, Anthony, Christopher, no, Clive, Sarah, Jen, Julia. Everybody's coming. Everybody's eager.
Yeah, Jerome is saying it says studio full.
Full. All right, then. So I'm going to bring people in, and then we'll sort it from there. Joan in. We'll add Joan. We'll add you. We'll add Clive. We'll add Sarah, and we'll add Jen. So, okay. So we'll see if that. Yeah. Right. I think. They have to like. Let's start with George, but we'll start. We've got the adverts going in. This is a kind of thing that I use for this show. I've never done a show online with this many guests, and this particular platform just takes 10. Yeah, as to do my show. So we'll have to just go with what's here. So if I don't know if some others who are maybe speaking a bit later actually want to come back a bit later, so the others can get in, then that might be an option there. So okay, let's. We've got like say 1 minute just to go before. Can anybody who's got their microphones on, could they mute them, please? Okay. So we're just in an advert, and we're back in 1 minute. So Anthony, okay then. George.
Hello.
Hiya. Just for you then. Do you want to give us a start and just let us know a bit about, is it Channel?
Channels, yeah, Channels Research Group.
Yeah, can you just tell us a bit about yourself? Just introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, so my name's George.
Right. Again, if anybody's got their fingers on, I'll mute you anyway if you're making too much noise. Yeah, okay.
Right, yeah. So my name's George Brown. I describe myself as a multidisciplinary creative. I work with photography, filmmaking, and design. I currently work within the media industry as well. And I've somewhat always been slightly politically active, thanks to my dad as well, Anthony Brown.
Yeah.
Brought up in it. And yeah, so the way that Channels kind of came together. So there's 4 of us in Channels. There's myself, Christopher, Jerome, and Sarah. And me and Christopher were at university together, and we were part of an organization, well, a society that we formed ourselves called a forum, and it was just a safe space for, we kind of opened up for any people of color at Goldsmiths University to come and have a space to talk and communicate and go through different topics that probably weren't being discussed in classes and things, and discussed at quite a deep level. And after we both finished at Goldsmiths, we continued staying in touch, and Chris started to organize little collectives where we would meet up and discuss what's going on in the current affairs in terms of race and politics. And we would meet up, say, at like the BFI South Bank in London, and Chris, Jerome and Sarah, we would all get together. And so we kind of planned to do this talk at Goldsmiths, where me and Chris used to attend. And this was kind of in January, leading up to about February, and then of course COVID hit. And so that kind of disrupted what our plans kind of like were. But at the same time, of course, I've always been quite involved in some capacity in the work my dad's been doing with Windrush Defenders Legal. I was part of the first march when we went out in 2018 and marched on the streets when not too long after the Windrush scandal first got announced. And at that stage, I think was the idea of putting a conference together. And so as channels, the four of us kind of became part of this movement and started looking at how we could bring our, let's say, our opinions, our expertise, our skill sets, and our kind of youthfulness into the discussion and see what we could bring to the debate, bring to just what's going on. And we kind of saw ourselves facilitating in terms of media and creativity and providing a certain, definitely a youthful viewpoint, but also enabling, I guess, the use of technology in whatever we will be doing. And
Excellent.
so we developed the Burning Work project alongside WD Legal, and we hosted this day workshop, this day conference, hosted on Windrush Day on the 22nd of June. And the day consisted of five breakout sessions, a main plenary session and one main kind of keynote session, 5 breakout sessions, breaking out into the 5 areas of race disparities, those being community cohesion, criminal justice education, work and health, as set out in the race disparity audit and also used by WD Legal. And we liaised with expertise in each of those fields and basically facilitated a discussion. And our aim was to try to bring together, I guess, I think what we can kind of see is that the case of Windrush was so complicated. It plays into, of course, race, politics, community, all these kind of things. And we wanted to bring some kind of context to that. So by hosting this day and hosting this room and having all these voices together in one place and brilliantly hosted by Sarah, who is here and I'm sure will be joining us in a moment, we had these experts speaking on each of their fields and how race and Windrush scandal had kind of intersected into those 5 different areas. We then put what we kind of found into a report, into a PDF report, and let that out into the world in a way.
Excellent. This project as well, there was an intergenerational aspect to it.
Yeah.
There was what was how did that work in the sense of what were the benefits that you felt for yourself and also for them?
Yeah, so I think that's kind of the most important, or one of the most important parts of this, right? It's how does the work, the burning work that all generations of Black people have been putting into to gain more rights, to gain more freedoms, and every single generation has another issue to try and fight, another issue to try and get over. And so it was important to work intergenerationally on this project to have the expertise of those who have been involved in this kind of work, have the knowledge of how things are done and what experiences people used to have. And then mixed with, I think the benefit of having the youth is this kind of new era. There's we were able to bring a lot of energy into the project, let's say. A lot of different viewpoints, a lot of different expertise in a way as well. I think as younger people right now, we've been exposed to a lot, but we've also been really grateful to be blessed with great education as well and things. And we want to see how we can bring those skill sets that we've developed into this project and into this debate. And so it's this merging together of old and new, and also the passing on of a torch in a way. And that all folds into the same concept of burning work. It is this kind of passing on of a torch, but it's also the literal burning work that each generation of Black people have to do to go forward towards that goal of freedom, I guess.
Excellent. Just let me ask you one more question, George, because a big thing, I love that. I love my work with young people a lot, but you also have a lot of talk around young people losing faith in the elders, and sometimes some elders losing faith in the young people. Elders want different things, not appreciating some of the things that young people are going on with. I don't know if you've been through that, gone through that, had teetered on the side of that in the sense, and whether this project was something that consolidated something for you in the sense of the benefits. But I'd love to hear just that from you, just from a young person's perspective.
Definitely. And the first thing I thought of when you said how was it kind of working intergenerationally, it was difficult. There's definitely challenges but also merits to working intergenerationally. There's definitely different opinions. There's definitely different ways of doing things. And there's also kind of the perspective of what kind of world you want to build, right? Depending on when you're born, the experiences that you have and the outlook that you have, there are certainly differences of opinions, let's say, and ideas of how to build things and what tools you can use to build things. But I think, let me go back a sec. I think that it's a real blessing as well to kind of, it's almost essential to work intergenerationally. And I think if this is one of my opinions as well, is that I think that is almost what some movements are slightly lacking at the moment, maybe. There's a huge energy within young people at the moment to fight racial justice. But some groups are kind of tapped into the older generation, some groups are not in a way. And the way that we as channels really want to organize ourselves is to constantly look to the older generation for kind of support and opinions, and to make sure that that the work isn't just done on our opinions and our outlook as well, because there's a lot of work that's been done throughout time that needs to be built up on. And it isn't just us that we're working for people that have gone and people that will be to come as well. Excellent.
Brilliant. Yeah, man. Inspiring every time, definitely. Thank you. Okay, Anthony, who we've got coming on next. I can't. Oh yeah, I muted you, didn't I? All right, sorry, Anthony, go on.
Yeah. I don't know if we've got anybody else, but in the studio at the moment we have a range of people who we've met on the journey, and I'd like to introduce Pastor Clive Foster first, who is going to give us some information about the work that's going on in Nottingham and also the Windrush National Organisation. Also, we've got Joan, as she styled herself. She will tell you where she's based, but she works with us through Preston Windrush, and she's declared that is our parliament. And then we have Julia, who is a former councillor from Peterborough, who is a Windrush activist in Peterborough. And so we link up, share ideas, and we fight on different fronts, but we support each other in each other's battles. So if Clive, you want to take it away now, and tell us a little bit about what's going on in Nottingham and Windrush National Organisation, what that is.
Thank you, Anthony, and thank you, Anthony, for this opportunity to be on your show. I've got to say, I was really enjoying hearing about the intergenerational work, and that's going to be so important taking forward. I'm really proud of the young people already involved in seeking for justice, and we've seen the groundswell, obviously, with Black Lives Matters. But this is going to be a long piece of work, and it's great to see that happening. So, as Anthony says, my name's Clive Foster. I'm a senior minister from called the Pilgrim Church in Nottingham, and we're part of a relatively small congregation. I've been involved in, as it were, social justice campaigns as part of our church outreach work. When the Windrush scandal broke back in 2018, before it even went public, I'm sure we can recall there were some bits of news happening in the background about potentially people from the Caribbean being threatened with deportation, detention, or being denied access to services. We made an announcement to our congregation on the Sunday morning at the very end of church, and it was just a very simple announcement to say, if there's anybody, you may have started to hear a few little reports about potentially people being receiving letters about being detained. If anyone is concerned about that, worried about that, I've had any information, please come and speak to the ministers. At the end of the service, we were astonished how many people came forward. I had people coming up to us and saying to me, Clive, I'm concerned about my father. His passport's not sorted out. Another lady said, Clive, I'm concerned about my uncle with regards to what's happening because he potentially could be caught up in it. When we started to hear these stories, we decided in Nottingham that we just had to act and we had to respond, because there was two things that we saw that needed a response immediately. Number one, there was a need for pastoral support because people were scared. Emotionally, they were getting quite frightened and apprehensive. And number two, we knew that there was a need for legal support. So what we decided to do was we decided to put on some drop-in surgeries. We teamed up with a local immigration advisor, and we ran a number of surgeries, and we advertised those. And so it went beyond just our own congregation into the community as well. And we started to get people to come forward to engage in the process of seeking their status, as it were. At the beginning of this Windrush scandal, the main thing was to get your documents sorted out and to get the proper status. We ran a number of surgeries. That work continued to the point whereby we started to engage with the Home Office. So what was happening, and subsequently to that work, we've subsequently ran compensation surgeries. We've worked with the Wendy Williams lessons learned report. We provided a case study in that report, case study 3, I believe, a lady who was affected by the Windrush. Her father sadly passed away, and in Jamaica when he had the right to come back. And so we just continued the engagement and trying to help people to come forward as part of the work that we were doing. And more people came on board to partner and support that work, in terms of students as well coming forward who were doing law and interest and coming to help with the compensation claims and scheme. What I guess we didn't know is as we were just badgering away and responding to our own local community, is that there were shoots of activity happening right across the country in terms of Manchester and Preston, in terms of Birmingham and Luton and Leeds. And at the same time that we were all responding individually, it came about that we kind of all connected. I got a phone call because of, as Anthony talked about, marchers, Bishop Desmond Jado, who was running the Birmingham UK Windrush movement, contacted me, and then we said we were going to have a march. And it was through that contact and through getting to hear what was happening with other people who were supporting and responding to this work that we actually all were making contacts. And we decided, well, let's try and come together and start to meet and share what we're going through. So through that organic process of, as it were, resistance and response to the Windrush scandal, we connected through that network. I met up with Anthony as part of Windrush Defenders. Met up with, got to hear about Preston and the incredible work that they're doing. For the first time in my life, went all the way up to Preston and to hear what they were doing. I did, and spent some time there and got to meet Glenda. I'm sure you might hear from later, and some other people from Preston. And I went up to Manchester, met up with Anthony. But then what happened was, is as we became clear what we were doing, and there was this willingness and like-mindedness to say, look, no, this is an outrage. What has happened to the Windrush generation and their descendants? We started to have meetings in Birmingham at the Panel Croft Centre, and we were having like kind of a monthly meetings, and we started to strategize. We started to think about how we can bring the best of our individual skills into a collective force to respond to the Windrush scandal. And it was through these meetings where we would come together, we would talk together, we would share together, we'd pray together, we've marched together. We decided, well, let's try and build a collective response together. And it was through that that meeting and that passion to see justice that we formed Windrush National Organisation. And Windrush National Organisation was launched on the 22nd of October. And Bishop Desmond Jaddo is the chair. I'm one of the vice chairs, and Anthony's and other members around the country are part of the team. We launched a strategy document. I'm very proud to say it's here. You can get it online. And there's a website that we've got, windrushnationalorganisation.com. And you can find out about our strategy document, which tells us maps out, as it were, the engagement and the roadmap to respond, to enable people to get access for justice for those who have suffered as a result of the Windrush scandal. Our strategy is very much about linking and networking and engaging, recognizing the importance of people coming to get their status sorted out and their compensation. So it's the Windrush National Organisation is an alliance of different organisations around the country, of activists, campaigners and lawyers. Our range is probably as north as Preston, Manchester, through down to Leeds and Luton, and in London as well, and Nottingham and Birmingham. And I'm very proud that through this that we have formed this organisation. And the elements of the strategy also include some really important aspects about how we tackle the law, which we've got expertise in from Anthony's skill set. Because this all happened because of the law, and it's important that we understand that. And our strategy is very much also about how we engage with those decision makers as well. So we are committed to seeing the recommendations of the Wendy Williams report. So Windrush National Organisation is a new formation to look at how we can, as a collective, start to have a bigger and broader impact to see that there is justice for the Windrush generation and their descendants in the UK. And we're also looking to reach out to those also overseas. In fact, just today, I was on a call with Bishop Desmond with the CARICOM, the high commissioners across the Caribbean countries, and we were sharing with them the importance of potentially looking at partnership with them. So that's how Windrush National Organisation is formed, and it's given us an opportunity and a platform to continue this important work for justice for all those affected by the scandal.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. Just in the sense of yourself and where you're from, how can people from your area contact you if they want to find out more?
Thank you. Well, if you want to find out more what's happening, please look at the website, thepilgrimchurch.org. And if you just click on this, put it there, thepilgrimchurch.org, and on there, then you can find out about our work in Nottingham. We have a special page called the Windrush Project, and you can contact myself there. And obviously, as I says, well, we've got the Windrush National Organisation, and you can check out that just by typing Windrush National Organisation.
Just very quickly, from a I'm not going to say unless I am a religious churchy kind of perspective. How many other churches are involved with you or on that same mindset that you're reaching out with?
I think that's a great question. I think I mentioned to you, obviously, Bishop Desmond Jadu, who's chairing it. Locally, what we've been doing is we're part of a local group which has majority Black-led churches in Nottingham. And so we network and we share the information, we push out the information. There are other churches who are involved, but I think there is still a need for churches to organize and respond more, I think more effectively with regards to this as well. So that is an ongoing part of the inward work as well as the outward work. But there are churches who have done things with regards to the response, but certainly in Nottingham, where I work as part of a network of churches and who are all kind of sharing information and also trying to respond to this as well.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. I did get a text that's just come in. It says I will be reading the strategy purely out of interest.
I just want to make a point because I was thinking that a lot of people, talk about the Windrush scandal, but it's great to have the churches involved because what I see is wickedness. That's all it is, plain and simple, and it's still going on today. And some of the people that we deal with, they're still calling, suffering, and being traumatized by the things that the Home Office is doing at the moment. And I can only describe it as wickedness. It's not a scandal anymore. It's just ongoing wickedness. Thank you, Clive.
Yeah, and just to be clear, the website is windrushnationalorganisation.org.
Excellent.
Sorry, .com. I keep saying .org. It's .com.
That's all right. No
Thank
problem.
you.
All right, and thank you very much for that. Okay, Anthony, we've got up next.
Yeah, we've got two more from channels. We're just going to continue with the national theme for a second longer, and then we'll come back with channels. I just want Julia to tell us a little bit about what's in Peterborough.
Thank you, Anthony, and thank you, Broadcasting Anthony, as well. My name's Julia Davidson. I'm based in Peterborough, and I've been a Windrush activist for at least 8 months or more now. And I've got a personal interest because of my brother, Sam, who is a Windrush victim. And I had the pleasure of coming across Preston Windrush and being contacted or put through to Glenda Andrews and Anthony Brown himself and various other people who we've, through our collective process, have become a formidable force. So what I've been able to do because of what's going on and what's been addressed through Preston Windrush is raise that greater awareness here in Peterborough. And through initiatives, we had a Windrush event ceremony, which consisted of a Windrush flag being raised in Peterborough, which has never been done. And that was courtesy of the collective discussion shared. And with Nigel Guy, that's another close contact, and I was able to do it again, first of all on the 22nd of June, and then I did it for the beginning of Black History Month. As everybody knows, Black History is every day, but we are only catering for a month of October, which is ridiculous. So what have I been doing? Well, we've been looking at the race disparities and the hostile policies that the Home Office has been dispensing, and through local politics, because I'm an ex-councillor for Peterborough City Council for the past 8.5 years, I've always been community-led and community-minded. So I thought I would use my networking skills to name and shame, if you will, and embarrass these people into making them sit up and take notice of what is going on to our people. During the course of Preston Windrush Free Zone Talk in a Safe Environment, chaired by Glenda Andrews and also Anthony Brown, and I think was created by Glenda, Sakina and Anthony in the first instance, I was able to be like-minded and add my support, and in turn they've supported me, and also they have supported my brother through a terrible time, and because of that organisation he's getting there. Yes, his situation is dire and he's still yet to be awarded his reimbursement. However, it's ongoing and it's courtesy, and I'm very mindful and grateful to the expertise of Anthony Brown and the support from Glenda Andrews. So what have we done? We've created what we call a admin PR site where we come as a collective team and we decide what letters we're going to formulate and get sent out to various bodies. And by doing that, we've provided a template which we have made available to everyone. I appreciate not many people have perhaps penned a letter or sent an email to some of these people in the local authorities or indeed to their local MPs. So what we've done, we've formulated that, and during that process of time, I personally have sent out a letter to my MP, Paul Bristow. I've also sent out an email to the Home Office. I also sent another email out to Yvette Cooper, is the MP of Home Affairs, and I sent it to the Head of Community Resilience and Integration with Cambridge and Peterborough City Council. I've also copied into those emails the local authorities so that they're fully up to speed with what I'm doing, and raising greater awareness to a wider audience so that everybody is on board. And they can't say that this is going to come as a surprise to them, because if anybody knows my emails, they will see that I CC up to 20 people or more. And in the final process of that, I've also sent a letter out to the Bishop of Peterborough, which is the Reverend Donald Alistair, for his attention, because obviously he picked up the gauntlet for the women's pensions or the loss of pensions. So I thought I'm going to appeal to his more sensitive nature and get him to also coming from a different position and a different perspective and see if he will also take up the gauntlet with us. Last Saturday, we had the opportunity to go on Galaxy Radio with an invitation by Councillor Martin Seaton, who is based in London. And what I actually called him out to do was to lobby him, get him to lobby the MPs as well, along with us. So 2 events were arranged.
Sorry, did you say, what was that name? Councillor Seaton?
Councillor Martin Seaton.
Legacy 90.1.
I just sorry, Julia, I was just going to come back to you, because what I did then, I went, because when you started talking, it was time for me to do an advert, so I went to the advert. Okay, so and I just went to the advert because I didn't want to disturb you from speaking. All right, and I just had a text. I just had a text that's coming. I apologize, 396. He says, seriously, in the middle of the talk. I just didn't want to stop it. We are online. I'm not trying to negate my duty to you, my listeners, on the radio. But we are online as well. So, but I won't do that again. I will let you know that we're coming to the break. And but you can also join us this evening on Facebook on Legacy 90.1 FM or on YouTube and SE capital S capital E UK Global on Facebook, and you can join us. And when we go to the breaks, you won't miss the rest of the conversation. Although I'm not going to stop the conversation, we will just change it slightly and then come back to what we were discussing before the break. Okay. So my apologies, 396. Okay. Sorry about that, Julia.
Thank you.
The interesting point, I mean, it's brilliant. I love the fact of running these people down and making sure that they're taking up the responsibilities that this should do. I had a counsellor on from America a few weeks ago, and he was very much in a similar energy as yourself in how he went out to set an example of how to make the change. So did the fact that you were a previous counsellor afford you any influence?
Absolutely, because
sorry, go ahead.
Absolutely, Anthony. I think it's allowed me to obviously use that forum to reach out to them and say to them, look, you know, I am going to do this. Are you aware of it? And surprisingly, they were not aware of it. I think it's the situation because it seems to be London, Manchester, Birmingham, Preston. It's not had a knock-on effect to Peterborough, but through this and through the support of Preston Windrush, I've identified 3 families, 2 of which I've put through to Preston Windrush. I don't know how far they've taken that proposal forward, but I do know that 3 families have reached out to me and said, thank you for being a contact here, because we've got nobody here this side of the waters. So it's with a joint effort that I'm either feeding potential people through, or I'm delivering them to a website to say, look, you need to do this. You need to find out if you've got citizenship, if you've been nationalized, etc., etc., etc. And then through that, the work behind, just to make sure that it's continued, and talking about raising awareness with the race disparities, the hostile environment, the stop and search policies that is continuously being rolled out, in more so towards our young black men, making it more of a community thing, and talking about the disparities within the workplace, also that our children in the schooling system, the education system, is not getting good grades as what we would hope for and for them to aspire to. And then from my personal perspective, looking at the healthcare, how Black people in their twilight years are not being supported adequately or effectively as we would like in comparison to the counterparts. So, and then my other last area of concern is obviously the deportation and the 2 scheduled flights that has been earmarked by the Home Office, why there's been a resurgence of me to do something and address these issues. And I'd like to say, Anthony Brown written to the Honourable Priti Patel, and that letter was an open letter that he sent out to her, and her response to him was very discouraging. So that really reinforced my commitment and dedication in wanting these people to give us a response, and ideally allow us an interview. And it's not for the lack of trying, getting them to come onto the free talk with Preston Windrush on a Tuesday evening. So to finalise, going back to Councillor Martin Seaton, what I asked him to do was to create an opportunity for us to lobby our MPs, even if it's by the government's recommendation in the bubble of 6. Therefore, 2 dates have come out. One was for December the 7th, and that was bearing in mind the scheduled flights to deport people. And the other one was on the 20th of January. And the significance of the 20th of January, as Anthony Brown beautifully reminded me and reminded everybody else on that Saturday broadcast, it was Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday. And we thought that event would also trigger, hopefully, a reaction and a greater response and a greater awareness, and hold these people to account. So that's very much me in a nutshell. And I'm absolutely honoured and humbled to be working with like-minded individuals that share the same goal and the same passion, and also share a great empathy towards people, and our people in particular. And last night I heard a harrowing case of a woman who's not worked since 2003. I don't think she will mind me saying that she is senior in age, and she was she was detained in a detention centre. And not only did they do that to her, they did it to her son. And then they took her son and deported her son. And her son ended in Jamaica. And the sad part of this story, and I hope she will come on one of our Windrush talks to share her story. Unfortunately, it's with great sadness that I say this. 5 months after he was deported, he was murdered.
Oh.
He lost his life in Jamaica. Now, I'm not saying that, going to Jamaica or any part of the world is an issue with that, but it's the fact that this poor woman who said she's not even began to think about being reimbursed by the Windrush scandal or the Home Office, or even submitted an application in, because she said no amount of money is going to justify or compensate her for the pain that she's living on a daily basis and enduring. And this woman has not worked since 2003. But this woman has been to Brighton, to London, to Parliament. She's even talked to the government in Jamaica. And this is how broad this situation is. It's not just the Windrush generation, the first generation. It is the second, the third, and the grandchildren who are coming up behind. And if we don't nip this into the bud to request Parliament to introduce a law that will protect the Windrush generation and their descendants, then my name's not Julia Davidson, and I will do everything in my power with the support of Glenda Andrew and Sister Joan, who made, and she also is in the group tonight, she also made it possible for us to go on another radio show last night with Sister Shanice. And I have to say, that's where I heard that story that absolutely broke my heart. So with that, I have to pick up the pieces of my heart, put them together, and fire at will. And I intend to do so.
Thank you, Julia, for that.
Julia.
You talked about the work that you were doing in Peterborough, and you brought some of the stories as to the wickedness that is going on with Windrush. I just want to pick up on the point that you made about some of the work, because it's again the burning work agenda that's taking place now in Peterborough. And I just want to come back to Jerome, who was part of the group that put on the conference, and then I'll come to Sarah, and for Jerome to tell me about your perspective in terms of...
Before we go over to Jerome, can I just check, because I've had somebody on the line for ages. Hello, is it still on the line? Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, there
still
she is.
here.
Got Lorna on the line, so she is here. She's been waiting very patiently. Can you hear her?
I can hear just fine. Hi,
Okay.
everyone. It's great to hear everyone.
Right. So when it's that time, Anthony is available.
Yeah,
all right,
brilliant. Can I just say, if Pastor Foster wants to let somebody else in, that'll be fine. And thank you for your contribution. And thank you. So yes, Jerome, do you want to give us your concept as when you put the Burning Work conference together, and what your thoughts are for the future and how things can develop?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Jerome Bonds. I'm a law graduate, part of Channel's research group. So yeah, I met everyone doing some organizing for Windrush, and we put on a great forum in June. Yeah, I'm gonna try and stay really calm because I'm finding it difficult to stay calm with what's scheduled to happen next Tuesday. And they've got eight people which they're going to deport. British people which they're going to deport to Jamaica. Another number there is 31 children. That's how many children are going to be left behind. 5 of those 8 are main carers. Probably spent most of their lives here. So, when we look at what we're up against, that's what we're up against. That is a state. That will be British Airways. Our tax money deporting people. So as Julia said, places where we know they could be killed. And where they have been killed in the past, 2018, Guardian reported 5 people were killed. So that's what Black Britishness is to this country. That is how we are viewed. To go back home. So I'm trying to stay calm with that in mind because that is what we're up against.
So has these deportations, Jerome, ever stopped since this whole Windrush thing was put out in the media? You said there's going to be a deportation next Tuesday. So how frequently have these been happening? Because I know I heard something about Windrush on the news today. I'm not hearing that much or anything about regular deportations or things still being deported.
Well, I mean, historically, they've liked to really play around with the numbers because you can remove people and then you can deport people. So if it's removal, removal is saying the immigration, it's voluntary removal, so that actually slowed to about 2013. So you can mess with the numbers if you look at over the past 10 years, and then they changed it to deportations. But I mean, during COVID, they had to stop. This is a huge COVID concern as well. How can you be deporting people just when lockdown ends? But also the deportations, it's not just to the Caribbean. Albanians, Nigerians, India, Pakistan, all over the Commonwealth, and it just makes you wonder what does the Commonwealth really mean. But I just wanted to bring that point also because we're talking about legislation, and I've been looking a lot at this law around deportation, and as soon as you commit a crime where you're sentenced to above 12 months, your class is a foreign national offender, and it becomes automatic that you need to be deported. So, when we're looking at the kind of legislation that we need to bring in, we can't just stop at saying we should lift this. Maybe we should say you should only be deported if the crime's over 2 years, you're sentenced for 2 years. These people shouldn't be deported in the first place. Look at the history of these people. They've probably been excluded. They've been in care. So it starts a lot earlier. I just wanted to make that point as well.
Thank you. Hold on, Anthony. I'd love to conversate even more, Jerome. But again, we've got these people in time. Anthony is an ambitious person. I like the ambition. So let's move. Go on, Anthony.
Yeah, you were going to tell us a little bit about what you had in mind for the burning work going forward. Jerome.
Sure. Burning work. I mean, for me, it's like what you called it, Anthony. It's a wickedness that we're dealing with here. And I mean, burning work going forward, I think we need to make a lot of noise about what's going on, because it is a real injustice. And so we need to keep on coming together as a community. We need to keep on holding these forums, and we need to keep on making noise and saying that this isn't in the public interest, because that's also another key part of the law. It's really horrible in that these deportations are in the public interest. You know, that's right. That's what they write in. That's how they justify it. They say this is in the public interest. Whose public interest? This isn't in the public interest of the Black British community whatsoever. You know, where they get this mandate for the public interest. So I think that's also a key part of burning work is defining the contours of this public interest, because that's how they're justifying it. You know, if you look at, I've seen some of the template responses that a lot of MPs have put to justify that, and that is their go-to. This is in the public interest. So we really need to be organized about defining that public interest. So I think burning work will play a really key part in that, and also legal education as well, because a lot of these people, in the meantime, to get rid of these unjust laws, people need to understand the laws operating against them, and also sign up for citizenship. You know, I had no idea before I started looking into this that indefinite leave to remain is hardly status at all. You know, a lot of these people have indefinite leave to remain. You'll still be classed as a foreign national offender. So how can we get people? Gosh, I'm advocating for people to sign up for British citizenship. I hope not, but at least that would keep you in the country for a bit longer.
Sarah, you chaired the conference. Let's have your take on how that went and what your thoughts are in terms of a vision for the future from the next generation.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me on. So, yeah, as Anthony mentioned, I chaired the Burning Work conference. And to be honest with you, from my perspective, it was a real honor to be able to do that. You know, I had the opportunity to speak to, you know, real legends and pillars of our community, like Sir Jeff Palmer, for example. You know, he gave a keynote speech, and he also sat on the education panel, which I chaired. And it was a really great day because we got to bring together so many, you know, leaders and activists in our community to talk about the areas of work that they have been taking part in for so long, in line with our 5 themes of education, work, community cohesion, health, and criminal justice. So it was a really good forum for that, and I think a lot of people learned a lot, including myself as chair, and also hearing, you know, testimony from members of the community who have been affected by the scandal, and you know how that has impacted them and their lives. So for me, it was a real honor to be able to chair a conference like that, and it made me very sort of excited for the work that we are going to have to continue to do as a community. As Jerome alluded to, you know, we do still have to come together, and George spoke about the sort of intergenerational approach that we're taking. And I think that's really important because, you know, we as young people, I don't necessarily know how much of our elders' history that we are aware of. You know, my mother, for example, came here in the 1960s. She's a member, you know, of the Windrush generation, as is pretty much my entire family on both sides. And, you know, when I speak to her, when I speak to my uncle, and, you know, and I hear about, you know, some of the racism that they endured when they came to this country, the work that they did, and how they helped to build the country, the Britain that I ended up being born in. It's important that we document these histories, that we document these stories, and that we share them so that we don't lose that. And I think that intergenerational approach that we're taking is really useful for that reason, even though it has its difficulties, as George mentioned. It was good to have. It was good. It was good to have that, you know, to kind of have that insight that we as young people wouldn't have, because obviously it wasn't our time that we lived in, and we don't recognize, you know, we don't always recognize exactly how we've ended up where we are and what had to be fought for in order for us to have some of the things that, you know, that we may have grown up taking for granted. But what I do think that, you know, especially considering events over the summer, what I do think has really come to light is that in some ways, I feel like we're kind of going full circle. Some of the same fight that, you know, my uncle, you know, who went to, you know, was taking part in the Brixton riots and, you know, the marches that my mum went on, you know, all of those things, you know, we find ourselves now as younger people fighting the same causes. You know, the names might be different, but at the root of it, it's the same injustice. It's the same, you know, it's the same liberties that this country is continuing to take with us. And so we, you know, we are picking up that mantle. And so in terms of, you know, what I see for the future, I just want to say that I think that, you know, young people at the moment, we are so politically active. We are so active in our communities. When I think about each of the 5 themes that we looked at in the Burning Work Conference, I can point to different initiatives that lots of people and younger people or my generation are kind of taking part in. You know, I used to be a teacher. You know, I think about an English teacher at that, and I think of, you know, the lack of texts by, you know, authors of color, by West Indian authors, Black authors that are part of the fabric of this country. But we have, you know, initiatives like decolonizing the curriculum that are trying to fight this. You know, we've got, you know, in health, there is a, you know, a much bigger conversation going on about maternal mortality, for example, that's being led by, you know, really amazing Black women, powerful Black women. In work, it's the same thing. You know, we're having conversations in work about how we can get more Black people into different industries that we may have thought were initially closed off to us. You know, for example, when I left education, I transitioned into the legal field, and there are so many initiatives like Black Men in Law, for example, that are trying to get more Black men and also Black women. There is one for Black women as well, getting Black women into the legal profession, because it is still at its core quite an elitist profession. And that's just one example. There's another one trying to get people, Black graduates, into the fast-moving consumer goods industry, for example. So I feel like one of the positives of, you know, social media, for example, and, you know, this age that we're living in, this digital age, is that we can leverage that to continue these conversations and to help bring our communities forward. And, you know, that is one of the things that I think Channels is trying to do. We are trying to leverage the kind of digital environment to create these forums that we can come together as a community to have these conversations, both inter and intra-generationally, so that we can keep making these strides forwards and to keep up the momentum that we are generating, because we're not going anywhere. Black people in this country, we are not going anywhere. We have a right to be here. We are the fabric of this country, despite the way other people might want to make it seem like we're not. And I think it's really important that we continue that. So that's kind of how I see the future.
Brilliant, excellent, Sarah. That's absolutely amazing. And I want to say, you know, I know George said it and you said it about those difficulties, and we had the smiles in the background, but you did it. Do you know what I mean? And nothing, I would say, worth its weight in gold is going to come easy. And it took a lot for us to get to where we are with all the things that are happening. And so I have to give my praises for you to sticking at it. And I think we're all better for the fact that you did. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And sorry, I was just going to say, I give my props to the elders as well for sticking with us also, because I know we're probably a nuisance at times.
You know, it is really a family dynamic, because I want to just call on Lorna, who has been, someone by my side who's been saying, we must have more young people in. And, it's like my wife saying we must have more children. And then when they come on and there's all these problems, I'm starting to cry to her and said, why have you given me all these children that are crucifying me? So are you there, Lorna?
I am. I'm here.
So, can you give us your take on what's been happening, and from the perspective as well of community cohesion, because I know that is a major consideration of yours. And
right. But what we're going to do, because we are right on the advert, Lorna, so I'm not going to start with you. I'll start with you after the break.
No
but I'm going to come back over to you because I've got a question. But let's just take the break, listeners. So stop in so I don't lose you. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Feel the vibe on Legacy.
This is a reminder for those enjoying their retirement and those not quite ready yet.
Okay. So we're not on air, but we're live still on online. So
Your job is free.
We can't bring Lorna in at the moment. But I mean, it's amazing. Like I said, what Sarah was talking about. Just, I know we're gonna talk to Joan, but just while we're in the break, can you just give us a little bit? We've got like 2 minutes of the break that's going, Joan. Can you just tell us a bit about yourself in that time, please? If you can do it in short, then we might be able to get together as well.
I'm a documentary maker. I fell in love with Preston Windrush. I fell in love with Free Talk. My mum came here 60 years ago from Grenada. And I'm a campaigner, an activist, and I'm livid about what's happening. Am I still on air?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you are on there, but you were just cutting out a bit.
Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you're coming in and out, and it's a shame.
Clear to me.
Because you were the first one here, so I want to definitely hear you.
Let me get my earphones and see if that makes a difference. Can you hear me now?
No problem.
I'll get my
earphones a bit
earphones.
on that. So
I'll get
just
my
to okay, let's just who haven't we said hello to at the moment? Let's say hello to Glenda. Hi, Glenda.
Hi, Anthony. You're right. Two Anthonys in one night.
Yeah. We there's a lot of us about, you know.
I believe so. I believe so.
So how are you?
Oh, I'm good.
And again,
Busy.
you very much your name's been mentioned quite a few times this evening, both by Julia and Joan and many others. So and you're again from Preston?
Yes, born and bred, Lancashire.
Brilliant. And I'm just thinking if there's anybody else that I haven't introduced. Jen Rankin.
Hi.
Hi, where are you? Where's Jen?
I'm here.
Oh, you're on audio. You're not showing yourself. How are you?
Hi, I'm okay.
Oh, there she is. Hello, how are you?
I'm all right, thanks.
Great.
Yeah,
How are
nice
you?
to see everyone.
Good. We're going to get to have a quick word with you and say hello and find out in a little while. And also, who else have we got? We've got Clive. Hello, Clive.
No, Clive's gone.
Hi.
Oh, he's there.
I'm here
Oh,
still.
Clive is still there. Oh, right. Oh, yeah, we've had Clive before. All right.
Where's now?
Yeah. I'll switch on.
Okay, so we're gonna we're coming to the end of the advert now, so we're gonna go back to Lorna. I've got a couple of texts that have come in, which I'll read out to you, and you may also
Before you do, Anthony, can you just give out the text number? Because I've got messages here saying, how can they text in?
Well, they can go on YouTube or Facebook. You can comment on there, and you can text in. I'll give you the details of the other ones in a bit.
Okay.
Okay, welcome back. You're on Tune to the Search Engine on Legacy 90.1. Currently online on the search engine. That's SEUK Global on Facebook and on YouTube. SEUK Global on YouTube and Legacy 90.1 FM on Facebook. You can comment on both Facebook and YouTube, and we will get the messages here. You can also send a text on 075996426 26, and we have had a couple in. We had a call before. It was just saying I was interested in hearing about raising the Windrush flag. Thank you. I think that was that Julia who mentioned that. And then we've got another one that comes in. It said, I am a local councillor in Preston too, and I work closely with Glenda and Anthony and help with Glenda's food community response on a Friday. I will always support and help and pioneer the Windrush cause and Preston Windrush. They do amazing work with not enough recognition. And that's from Councillor Daniel Duckworth. Way to go, Daniel. Hey, thanks.
Hey, I think he wants to be an MP.
Well, it looks like he's got a few of your votes if he's going.
Oh, we're for you, Daniel.
And then we've got, is there a petition to sign to get heard shocking news?
Yes.
Is there a petition, guys?
Yes, we're working on it.
Okay, right. Anthony and Anthony, what is the fabulous Joan on the Joan? Yeah, Joan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to come back to you, Joan. So, Lorna, carry on. Sorry. Hello.
Hiya. Hello, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Anthony might have to nudge me if I veer off. Yeah?
I'm sure he won't mind doing that.
Anthony Brown. And what Joan was just about to say was, yeah, there are quite a few petitions out there that's really important that they're signed. Jerome touched on the really, really important.
Sorry, can you just tell us what your role is?
Oh, sorry. So what my see what I mean? I'm veering off already. I work with Anthony, Leonie, Tonika, Boniface, Roshel. I don't know if I've missed anyone out. I think I probably have. Anyway, we formulated WD Legal. Initially, it was Anthony, Leonie, and myself. So to hear everybody talking on the show tonight and sitting here listening, and I'm on the phone because my Wi-Fi has been down for a while, so I can't be online with you all. But listening to everyone, it's, for me, it's like we've come a really long way from just me and Anthony arguing about what to do and who to contact. But I've given Anthony hell. Anthony, I'm saying it live on air. I know I've given him hell, but he gives it right back as well, and everyone on this call knows it. We've come a really long way. We've had a tough time. It's been really hard at times when it was just the two of us in the beginning, and then Leonie joined us, and it was tough when just the three of us were doing this work because it's so hard. It's emotional, as Julia was explaining. It's emotional. It tears your heartstrings. Every single person you speak to, it's like a story from the TV or from a movie. It's unreal, the kind of stories like the one Julia alluded to. We hear hundreds of those. And the sad thing about it is that it's history. It's world history. This is because of history that, but what's that saying? We're here because you were there, or something like that. There's something like that. There's a reason that people are here from different countries, from the Caribbean, from African countries, and other countries around the world that have been affected by Windrush. There's a reason. They didn't just land here because they decided, let's go for a holiday. And it's important that people understand that historically, people were British when they were born British, even though they were born in other countries, because of history. And that's what people need to learn about. People with British subjects, because Britain colonised countries and islands across the world and decided that they were making people British subjects. So for people to then be invited to the UK because of being British subjects, because they were from colonies that Britain had seized, I think they use nice words like territories now. They like to change the words, don't they, to make it more palatable.
Can I
people
just
came here.
Sorry for cutting you that long, but I know you have done some pioneering stuff, and I've heard from a lot of the guys that are on the already, and I'm just conscious of time.
Go ahead,
and I know you're part of or involved in. I know a portion of a lot of that you're doing with the Windrush Defenders. But can you tell us something about the Hummingbird Project?
I think Leonie will tell you about that when she comes on, because Leonie led on that. I work with Leonie and Anthony on it, but Leonie is the best person to speak to that, the Hummingbird.
Okay.
What I will say
well, Anthony initially said, okay, get Lorna to give her version of
she's doing
the channel project and how it worked as with the young people.
Channel, CRG. It's Sarah, Jerome, Christopher, and George who spoke beautifully already. So we worked closely with channels to do the Burning Work conference, which was online, an online conference on the 22nd of June on Windrush Day. So yes, we worked closely together, and I was laughing my head off when we were talking about was it challenging. It was challenging, but that's life. For me, I didn't mind it being challenging. I'm used to challenges, and you know anyway, Tony, I'm not going to do any work around community or any work that supports us as a people without involving young people. It's so important. Doesn't matter what we do, we have to work together. We have to work intergenerationally, and we have to learn that it is difficult to work with each other. So yes, it was at times difficult, but the bigger picture was always in sight, and that was the burning work. And that burning work will continue, as I think it was George that said. It was happening before I came. I was taught by elders, and we're passing that baton on. And George, Sarah, Christopher, and Jerome will run with that like fire. I know that, and they already are. So it was challenging, but it was very, very much worth it for what we're doing together now. For me, community cohesion is at the heart of all of the work, because what has been broken has been our communities. They are not cohesive. We often say to each other, black people can't work together, or you can't trust each other. I don't like hearing any of that, because I don't believe it. I believe it was damaged by design. We will mend it, and we are mending it. But the community cohesion damage came about because we were split up. I spoke to it before historically. Our parents came over here, often leaving our elder siblings behind, coming to the UK, then having families. I was born in the UK. I have sisters and brothers who were left behind in Jamaica. My eldest brother has never ever come to this country. I've had to grow up not knowing my siblings that were left in Jamaica, and then believing that those of us, five of us were born in the UK, and 2 came from Jamaica. Those that stayed in Jamaica and didn't come here grow up feeling that us in the UK who grew with our parents had a better life than them, had a better access to the parents, and it's damaged our relationship. And we have, for my whole life, tried to mend that with my older siblings. And I know most of the people that I speak to, and I've grown up knowing for my whole life, have that dynamic within their families. There's usually somebody that was left in the Caribbean or left in Africa while the parents came here to work, with a view to buy the big trunk, pile it with nice stuff, and go back after 5 years, ending up being trapped in this country once bills and debt and things attached to this country. But what has been broken down systematically is the cohesion that is integral to who we are. We are a people that work together. We are a people that work in a unified way. It's who we are. And that, to me, is the deepest hurt that is continuing throughout this Windrush scandal. And we have been for more than 2 years, I think now, Anthony, I'm not sure, Leonie will have to correct me, but over 2 years we have been working one-to-one with people who have been affected. And it took a long time for people to feel like they could come and sit in a room with us and bare their soul. Because we are a proud, proud people. And we have had people that have this hostile environment that everybody hears about is real. It was created. People would turn up at jobs that they've been working at for 25, 30 years to be told, sorry, you've got to leave because you've been told to ask for your passport. You haven't got one, so bye. And then lose your job, lose your house, denied access to health care and all sorts of things. And some people have been living like that for years and years and years and years and years, afraid to come and say to anybody, you know, is there anything you can do to help me? So when the scandal broke and it came out in the media, some people started to seek us out. I was based at the Windrush Millennium Centre at the time, and I think what happened, I said this to Anthony, that maybe people Googled Windrush and the Windrush Millennium Centre popped up, and it just so happened that that's where I worked, at the front, and I would see people coming in and then leave. If the reception was busy, they wouldn't speak to me, but they'd come back. And by the third time, I might say to them, take them to one side and say, there's something that I can do for you. I could tell by the body language, and after a while, I could just tell. So they didn't have to come back a third time. I'd noticed the body language of people that wanted to say something but were afraid to. And so little by little, we got to have interviews with people and realised the trauma that they'd been going through and the fact that they couldn't speak about it. A lot of them didn't tell the family, didn't tell the children, didn't tell the partners, some of the things that they've told us. And it's horrific. And I'm sure Anthony and Leonie will speak some more.
I know there's been shared so much of what's been going on. And it is tragic and it's sad that it's still continuing. But it's great that there are people like yourselves and like Windrush Defenders and like the churches.
And Preston, Windrush, Glenda doing the same work. Yeah.
So I'm just mindful that we've got these others.
That's okay. Go ahead. I've said enough.
But I'm happy for once I've touched on with other people, for anybody for you just to share what it is that you have been doing and what you just think people need to know and how for them to get involved. Yeah.
They need to sign this petition for stop that deportation flight on the 2nd of December. It's out of order. That's what we can do right now, but I'll go now and let somebody else.
You don't have to go. You can stay.
Well, you know what I mean. I'm here. I'm here.
Thank you very much for that. Are we going to go back to Joan, Anthony?
Yeah, Joan, if you can give us your take on how you got involved and what you see the future.
Yeah. Can you hear me this
better.
time? Okay, epic. I'm Joan. I said before I'm a director. I worked in a big company as a director for 20 years. And one of the issues I had was the coverage on mainstream media, which was a lack of the Windrush story. And when it broke for me, a lot of us knew about Windrush deportations long before the media chose to cover it. And that's the key, is a lot of people we know were being deported, but the media chose not to cover it because they felt that it wasn't relevant. It wasn't relevant to British news, and that is the issue. And I saw something that Glenda was doing and Sakina feeding Windrush elders during COVID, and I just fell in love because it was based in Preston, and that's where my mum arrived 60 years ago, in Preston. And the other thing that people have to remember is that Windrush isn't a boat. It's a group of very powerful, strong explorers that were invited from the Commonwealth to Britain, and they're explorers. That's how we have to regard them. And the nation kind of needs to wake up and understand that Windrush isn't just a group of people on a boat. It's some very, very brave people who came to Britain to help Britain after the war, and that narrative needs to change. But when it comes to Preston Windrush, I'm besotted by them. I gate crash them, and one of the things I'm good at, I believe, is making sure that it gets out into the media, and so that is my obsession. We were missed out of the media, And people have to absolutely understand that this scandal is not over. And that's my pathological obsession. And the reason is because there's an old lady who walks down the street in London. She has a shopping basket. She mutters to herself a bit. And people don't step out the way for her. And that is my mother. She is one of those great explorers that people choose to ignore. And that could have happened to my mother. So my obsession is just to make sure the media knows. We're all doing it. Julia, Anthony, Glenda, Jen, everyone. We're all doing it in our own way. But the key to this is there are 50 deportations happening, as that epic young man mentioned. I can't believe that young people have to be doing this and coming on shows, you know, but the key is that everyone has to remember, if you remember anything, there's 50 deportations coming up for Christmas, and there's this lack of compensation being paid. And Anthony said something which is stuck in my head, which is an old quote, which is justice denied. If justice delayed is justice denied. And that's what we have to think about is we're all on social media, we're all on WhatsApp, we're all armchair anarchists. This time, we need to get out of our armchair. We need to send letters. We need to write to our MPs, even if they don't reply, even if we think that we're very little and they're too big. They are paid by us. Money comes out of my salary every week. That is, they are paid for us, and that's what we have to remember is get out of your armchair, please. I'm saying it in a nice way, bordering on vexed, but people don't press like when we share the petition. Don't press like when we say 50 deportations. Don't press like when we go, someone's died because of it, because that's murder. The government is murdering people. And I know that sounds harsh, but let's just look at the facts. So the next time you see a petition, or the next time you see a template letter sent to you by Preston Windrush, please look at it. Please sign it if you feel comfortable. Of course, there are those who are worried about exposing themselves to the media, but please send that letter. That this isn't about armchair anarchism anymore. This is about doing something, because obviously the government isn't. They're saying they are. They're having an inquiry. They're having a look into it, and they've got a task force. But what is it actually doing? And we mustn't be falling into a false sense of, what's that word? Relaxation, where we think everything's going to be okay. We have to rely on ourselves. I've said it last week. Don't rely on the oppressor to free you. Maybe that's a dodgy quote, but that pretty much sums it up. And you know, Britain suffers from a disease called empiritis. I'm British. I was born here. But as soon as it happened, I was terrified. I wanted to grab my mum and go somewhere, because I thought, is my mum next? And that's what that does. I know I haven't suffered from it. I know, but I'm aware of people who have. I've been to one funeral. This is real, people. This is real. You know, I don't know, if you don't stop me from ranting, I'll carry on. But this is about empiritis. This is a 500-year business plan that Britain has.
What's that word again, Jo?
Empiritis.
Go, Jo.
Say it again.
Empiritis.
Well said.
You know, it's almost terminal. And people need to understand this is a long line of events over 500 years, and this just is another target on that. It's not a mistake. It's not a bureaucratic error. It is happening because they wanted it to happen. So we have to get off our armchairs. If I sit down, I won't be able to get out of mine because I've got bad knees. But the point is that you know, people need to go, right, that could be my mum, that could be my dad, that could be my sister, that could be my brother. Write to the press. The press loves stories like this. It's awful, but it's true. Just do it. I mean, I'll carry on, but the thing that we have to also remember about the word Commonwealth, the clues in the title. We are the human bank that they withdraw, spend, and then put back at a lesser value. That is what the Commonwealth is. It should be retermed common theft. It's someone else who told me that. Commonwealth is a human bank that is being used as some sort of resource when Britain needs help. And I love Britain, I love being British, but we have to keep it real. And these harsh words are only said because it's amazing how many people have supported Glenda and Anthony and Julia and Jen and all the people running Windrush, Preston Windrush and Sakina. But this is not a hobby. Often people regard campaigning as some kind of hobby when you've got nothing else to do. This is something that needs to be 24/7. And as a documentary maker, that is what my documentary is about. It's about how being British and how the idea that I'm almost my mother's not British all of a sudden. Oh, she was British when you invited her, but she's not British now.
So Joan, just on your documentaries and stuff, is there anywhere that people can go and come and see them? See some of the things that you've done?
It's not on. It will come out in April. Well, it's been, production goes in. So I've been commissioned. I've been working on it for 4 years. I've been working on it for 4 years, following all sorts of African campaigns, marches, organisations. And the key to it was, the objective was, it was to work out if press turned up. Okay. So, for example, if Big Ben is poorly, the press are up on it like a rash.
So April then? So can I reserve a time with you around April for us to discuss that when that comes out?
Yeah, you can. 99% it will go out on BBC 4.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot for that, Joel.
I wasn't too rude, was I?
No, you're amazing.
Anthony, can we have Leonie now? Can you tell us a little bit about the work you've been doing, Leonie, and how you got involved in Windrush Defenders?
Yes, hi everyone. Can you hear me? Yes. Hi. So my name's Leonie Brown. I am a Jamaican. I've been living here in Manchester for the past 28 years. I met Anthony on I am a law graduate. I met Anthony on my law course. And when the Windrush scandal broke back in 2018, it just didn't sit well with me. So there was a meeting that was held at the Windrush Millennium Center in Maside. I went to that meeting to find out how I could use my skills to help the community, and I met Anthony there, and he began to tell me about his plan to mobilize people with legal skills to help the community, and that's where it started really. I teamed up with Anthony. He put out a call for on Facebook. There were 2 other lawyers who came on board. Lorna was already with Anthony, and that was the birth basically of the Windrush Defenders, which is now what we've turned into a community interest company, WD Legal CIC. I'm not going to go over all the things that's been said already. A lot has been said about the work that's been done in the different areas. But I'm so heartened tonight to see the accomplishments and how far we've come and the achievements. But this is far from over. You know, we just have to continue to do the work and continue on the path that we're on until we get the result. We are talking about.
Can you tell us about, with the compensation scheme? What is that right now? People need to know about that.
Well, the compensation scheme, the important thing is that it will come to an end in 2022. So it's about just over a year left on it to claim. 23.
Yeah, they've extended it.
They've extended it for another year. So it's 2023. Basically, the compensation scheme is to compensate people for the loss that they have suffered as a result of the as a result of what the Home Office has done in terms of revoking people's citizenship, basically what you have suffered, the loss. Anthony will tell you that this is not enough, because basically they are what the Home Office has done is revoke people's citizenship and their status. They apologize for it, but they are not compensating you for the fact that they've done that wrong to you. What they are compensating you for is what you suffer as a result of them mistreating you. So if they've mistreated you and you've not they think that you've not suffered in it, there might be people that have not suffered in some ways. So only if you can prove that you have suffered some kind of loss as a result of the mistreatment, then you will be compensated. And you have to prove as well how you have suffered that loss. And also you will have to prove that you have done something to mitigate the loss. So it is really giving with one hand and taking back with another one. Saying that they're compensating you, but in reality, it's not really compensating you, if you know what I mean. So if you have suffered any loss and want to claim compensation, the Manchester Windrush Defenders, both myself, Anthony, Lorna, Roshel is on as well, and Tonika, Boniface, and other volunteers that we've got. If you're here in Manchester and you've got a family member who have suffered any loss, you can get in touch with us and we will have a look at making your compensation claim for you. Did you want me to talk about the Hummingbird as well, Anthony?
Yeah, you could just touch on that, yeah.
So the Hummingbird Project is we've had a small grant from Forever Manchester. The Hummingbird Project, we know that over COVID, a lot of the Windrush generation family might have been affected by COVID. We know that people aren't coming forward. They're scared to come forward to get treatment because they know that their status might not be correct, and they're still going through those challenges of rectifying their statuses. We are seeking to assist the members of the Windrush generation and the wider African and Caribbean community here in Manchester. If you are struggling with finding the services that you need, we are offering advocacy and support to help you find whatever service you need. So basically, we know that over COVID and the lockdown, many services, important services that people normally use, are offering reduced services, or they've gone under, or they've not opened at all, and people don't know, are struggling to find the right service that they need. If you have any needs to find services, or it might be a food bank, it might be to do with your health, overweight, weight management, whatever it is, and you can't find the service, we will reach out to you. We have launched the outreach program. It's called the Hummingbird, and we will go around like little hummingbird and seek out the service for you, and we will assist you to access that service, and we will advocate on your behalf as well to make sure that you get the right service that you need. So that is a little branch off from compensation and sorting out your documentation, but we are here to service the Windrush community.
Thank you, Leonie. I just want to bring in the final member of WD Legal that's here, and then we can go on to the others, and that is Roshel. Roshel has been with us from day one, and she was a law student at the time, and we brought her in and also mentoring her. But I'm really pleased and proud to say tonight that Roshel graduated this year with a first in law. So that is really good. So well done, Roshel. And would you like to just tell us about your role
Thank you.
in Unity Legal and the work that you've been doing with the young people when you've helped out at the Saturday school, and the things that we're talking now about lawyers in school?
Okay, thank you, Anthony. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. So I started working with Windrush defenders around 3 or more years ago as a law student. I learned a lot from Anthony. So basically, I really got into this because when the Windrush scandal broke, I was furious. I could not put into words how disappointed I was in the British government, the Home Office. We all know what's happening at the moment. That department is a mess, but that's no excuse for them putting the Windrush scandal on the back burner. We are important too. I have to say that I've been in this country since I was 8 years old, and it was only a few days ago that I just received my British passport. How atrocious is that? After 20 years of living in this country, after working here, after paying my taxes, I just received a British passport through the mail. I could not believe it. The struggles, the money that it costs, I can only imagine, and I can only sympathize with the Windrush generation, because for me, for my personal struggles, that was just a little bit. I just had a little bit of taste of what the stress that they went through, the humiliation that they went through, and no wonder they're still angry. But as Leonie said, we have to focus as well on our future. So I would like to tell you a little bit about the Lawyers in School initiative that we're launching. So we started it at the Louise Decacoda Supplementary School, and it's been very well received. I personally went in and presented to these inspirational children, just eager to learn. And it's important that they know they have rights, they know what the law is, and more importantly, they know that they can use it to their advantage. A few hours ago, I was reading this article about Andy Burnham, the mayor of Manchester, wanted to put 20 police officers in schools. And the idea of this is for them to be put in the school that has the greatest need for them. And I think that's the sweet way of sugarcoating us, because basically those police officers are going to be put in schools that are predominantly full of Black people, of BAME students, of working class students. And I found it to be outrageous. We don't need cops in school. What we need is lawyers in school. And it's very important to educate young ones because they really are our future. So we would like to focus the Lawyers in School initiative to the children that are young, to bring them up so that they don't end up in prison, so they don't end up homeless, so they know they have a bright future. So we won't be put in that bubble of Black students dropping out of school, of that awful race disparity audit that's come out, that's basically saying that Black people don't care about school. Is because they don't teach Black history correctly in school. It's more white history, but then again, every day is white history. We only get 1 month for Black history. But I don't want to sound bitter, but this has really left a bitter taste in my mouth. And that's why I think it's very important to focus on the young generation as they come up and realize that they don't have to put up with this treatment, that they too can go to school, normal school, and get a good education. So while we are trying to educate them in the law, we're teaching them basically all the things that I was learning in university and having to pay like £9,250 pounds for. We're teaching them for free. And I still find it outrageous to this day. But you know what? Those children, they really lift my spirit up and give me hope. And I'm going to continue on this fight. I'm sure we all are. We're not going to let this be forgotten. The Windrush generation will not be swept under the rug anymore. Not going to happen. I, for one, definitely will be personally writing to Andy Burham, the mayor of Greater Manchester, and letting him know how I feel about these 20 police officers in school nonsense that they have going on right there. It's not on, not at all.
Thank you, Roshel. Thank you for that. Did you have some more? Do you want to just round up?
Oh yes, basically we're focusing on the positive, on getting the Lawyers in School initiative going and educating our children, because when I was at the Louise Decker Supplementary School, I could see the fire in these children. They were really eager to learn. They were active participants. They loved it. They were just so engaged and they want more, and that's what we want to roll out. So we were going to start with the BAME students, and then we're hoping to open up the initiative to everybody eventually. But right now, we're just focusing on the community at the moment.
Oh, excellent, Roshel.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was amazing. Thank you. Loving the energy.
Thank you for having
we
me.
still have Jen with us.
Got Jen.
Glenda.
Hi.
Oh, hi, Jen. Oh, hi.
Hi.
How are you? How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you.
You've heard us talking about all these bad things going on in Britain. How do you feel that?
Anthony, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Just before you go over to Jen, just got a couple of texts here. If I don't know, it's not really to answer to you, but let me just read them anyway.
Okay.
One says, "Can I ask again? Wasn't the community forewarned years ago to get naturalization due to coming over? Just checking with the group." Anybody can give a quick answer to that?
Yes, there was a campaign in the 80s about naturalization, and some people did get naturalized, and there was initiatives like you've got Windrush Defenders. There were groups of people that help people to get their passports and so on. But in all initiatives, not everybody hear about it, and in some cases, people were actually against it because they said they were born British, and they came here. Why on earth should they pay for something that they were born with? Some of them even fought in the army, and on principle, they refused to pay for something that they, knew that was theirs by right. And some of the army commanders actually paid for those soldiers to get their British citizenship, because the soldiers, and you can see the documentary on this if you go online, refused to pay for it themselves because they knew that they, were being sold something that they already had. So there's that dynamic. One of the things that I was trying to bring out with the letter to Priti Patel was that if people come here, it's like people from Scotland coming down to England, and then they're British, and suddenly their citizenship is revoked. You can't. It would be seen as unfair, and that's what's happened with people from the Caribbean, that they've been living here and then their citizenship is revoked, and 50 years later you don't give them a document, but then you start putting them in prison because they don't have documents and deporting them. So that's really, in a nutshell, what's
Brilliant.
going on.
Thanks for that. One more. It's not really a question. It says that's a good strap line for the petition. Do not sweep the Windrush generation under the rug.
Mm.
And it goes on to say, love the law, education for young people. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say we will Windrush. We will Windrush.
Yes, we will win.
That is our slogan.
Okay. All right then,
Yeah.
Jen. We're crawling out of time, and we still want to get. Has Glenda gone?
Yeah. How do you think the white community is responding to what we're hearing?
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for inviting me, Anthony. It's been really interesting listening to everybody, friends that I know already, and new friends, I hope, as well. It's a good question, Anthony, and
Sorry,
obviously,
Jen. Can Anthony? I didn't know if I heard the question that he asked you right. Then ask you. I'll say that again.
How do you think the white community is responding to what they're hearing about the Windrush generation and also about George Floyd and Black Lives Matter? What?
And before you answer that, Jen, is that a fair question? I didn't even see your button. I only did flinch with that.
I'm white.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, so I think that since George Floyd was murdered by policemen in the spring, I think it was May, there's been a big uprising and a big awareness of Black Lives Mattering. And I'm part of a book group, 2 book groups reading about it's a book written by Layla Said, who's a Black British-born Black woman who currently lives in I think in Saudi Arabia now. But her father was I think he worked in the Royal Navy, so she traveled quite a lot and she suffered a lot of racial discrimination. So she wrote this book to teach people teach predominantly white people to understand better about racism. So I've joined this book group and we've been going now for a couple of months, sorry. And each week we are delving deeper and deeper into the topic of racism. And some of the participants of the book of the book group have husbands or partners who are Black African or Black Caribbean or multiple heritage, but don't have white skin and are treated unfairly because of the color of their skin. So for me, it's been a very long process, and I was very frustrated at the beginning, and I felt that white people in the group weren't doing enough. But I think there's a lot of unpicking that white people, especially those in institutions, need to start doing. And reading this book and listening to Black, African, Caribbean and community groups like Glenda and Anthony's Free Talk on a Tuesday evening at 8:30 on Zoom is a step forward. And there are many counsellors, white counsellors, and people from the community in Preston, like I am, who attend these meetings every week and are beginning to really begin to have empathy. And I think that's really the first step. And I think it's really important for Black African and Black Caribbean and multiple heritage people to know that because of media portrayal of Black African and Caribbean people, and because of our education system, we have been misguided about our history. So people are waking up, and I think what I feel very strongly about is it is the responsibility of white people to start making a change. And I think it's very difficult for people, if they haven't ever experienced racism, to be able to have empathy. And it's only because through Glenda Andrews, who is the most wonderful host of Preston Windrush Generation and Descendants Free Talk every Tuesday, she has such a warm heart. She's so hospitable. She's so welcoming. She's so loving to everybody. And because of that, she's created such a wonderful, united Windrush generation throughout a national. She's connected so many people, so many Windrush pioneers and supporters of Windrush pioneers. And and I think I'm very happy to know her and be part of the journey.
Oh, wow. So tell us something about what Burning Work has been doing in Preston, Jen.
Well, I'm sorry, Anthony, and I'm sorry, Jen. But you know, time we really have run out of time, and I think we need to, especially after listening to Jen, listening to Julia, and listening to Joan, we need to speak to Glenda.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, we must. But I just wanted to just let Jen say a few sentences on, because it's really important, the Burning Work thing in Preston, and then we'll come on to Glenda. Just a couple of sentences, Jen, on Burning Work in Preston. What have you done there?
Together with Preston Windrush Generation and Windrush Defenders, Anthony and Glenda have had correspondence with with Preston City Council, reminded them of their equality strategy, which says that everybody should have an equal chance, and that the council should work with communities to understand what people need and ask what people think. And that's written in their equality strategy. So Preston Windrush and Windrush Defenders had a meeting with the city council leader and the leader for equalities and inclusion, and also the chief executive of the council. And Glenda was relentless in getting a meeting with the people at the top, so that they could talk and could be listened to. And it was the most, I think, emotional turn in the well, one of the, I mean, the most emotional turns that I've experienced with Preston Windrush, because there were people in the meeting who have been working in the council, Lancashire County Council, with children as a school liaisons officer, especially working with children of mixed heritage, multiple heritage, who are in school, who are in social care. And he said it was just finally, he felt that people were listening. And I think it's really important for people who are listening to this radio broadcast to realise and to know that there is such a big network of Windrush advocates out there, and we're all together and we're all fighting, we're all supporting you in many different ways. So don't feel that you're alone. Glenda, over to Glenda, who will tell you more.
Oh, thank you, Jen.
Thank you very much.
Now, after so many people have mentioned Glenda, please give us a.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
How you get involved in all of this? And
oh my gosh!
Oh
my gosh!
We've literally got 10 minutes, Glenda.
Oh God, we haven't got enough time. We're going to have to do this again, Anthony.
Yeah, we will definitely. You know, Anthony's just been very ambitious this evening, but that's all right. We like that. It pays off, and just seeing all you here this evening, and the ones who tried to get in and couldn't get in, shows that it works. So thank you. Go ahead.
I think this is going to be one of the best, talk about epic programs that we've been on. It's like a free talk, but I think you've topped us, really. So I hope that you're either going to come on our free talk, and we're going to do this again. I don't know where to start, to be honest. I was quite emotional.
Go on, just say what you feel.
I'm quite emotional because there's so much I want to say. You've got the wind. For me, always has been like the people who've been impacted by this scandal, or a sense of not knowing who they are for years. I became involved with the Windrush movement in 2019 because of my mum, because of my my friend Sakina, who at 34, which really I couldn't get. So Sakina, who is the founder of Preston Windrush Generation and Descendants UK, based in Preston. And And she was told when she was applying for her daughter's passport, they weren't British. And I remember her ringing me that Friday night, and I said some words that I can't repeat on air. And then I was looking in Preston to find out who in Preston can help us unravel this issue. And I have a large network, and we ended up coming to Manchester to the Windrush Millennium Centre, and I'll never forget it. And me and Sakina's not used to being on that side of the fence. So I remember me and Sakina, it was cold, it was April, and we went down to Manchester and we met Hartley, amazing guy, and we met Anthony, and and I can't remember if we met Lorna. I think I met Lorna later. But and from then on, and I remember outside, Anthony gave us a lift to the station after, and it was like we knew each other. It was, and I think that's what Windrush has been. I'm sidetracking, but Windrush for me is emotion. It's moving. It's very spiritual. I believe it's about connecting our ancestors. I met Anthony and I asked him that night. Sakina might have thought, what are you doing? We don't even know the guy. Do you know what I mean? And I asked him if he would be the chair of Preston Windrush. And he accepted. So someone's calling.
Go ahead, carry on.
So that's how we started, really, the movement of Preston Windrush. I helped Sakina and many others through advocacy, and I believe that people really need to look at what advocacy really is. So advocacy is about walking with people on their journey and helping them have a voice. So then when they're ready to have their voice, that they can speak. So I believe I'm an advocate. I believe I have a purpose. I believe we all have a purpose to find out who we truly are. I'm probably quite adverse to many others. So I do believe that it's not just down to the color of our skin. I believe we have to find out who we truly are from within. Windrush is unique. I don't think people still don't get it. It's deep, it's wide, it's, oh God, it's emotional. You know, to see people like Sakina, unless you, Anthony says it, unless you've experienced it, and I think that's why a lot of people are scared. They don't even want to go down that road. If you don't know what it's like to be questioned who you are, not even about the color of your skin, but just who are you? And you've always believed that you are Mr. or Miss or Mrs. Jones. And then someone says, no, you're not Mrs. Jones, because you need to prove that you are and that is, just think, if you woke up tomorrow morning and someone said to you, you're not who you are, but you know who you are. It's a fundamental human right to be who you are. And someone, the government, is taking that away from people. So Anthony talks about the law. Preston Windrush came about because of Sakina. A lot of people say, well, you know, people come out and publicize, or you're doing this for whatever reason. You've no idea how many people are sitting in both shelters, have nowhere to go, can't read, can't write, don't want to say they can't fill in that application, haven't got the money to make a phone call to speak to Anthony or Lorna or Glenda or whoever. There are many, 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 many reasons why people aren't coming forward. And they may be in a job, but they can't give up that job, or they can't ask the question because they rely on that salary. There are so many reasons. I'm sidetracking because there's so much I want to say. But Anthony, in his 3 years, I'm going to say, if it wasn't for Anthony, if it wasn't for Sakina, if it wasn't for Sam, if it wasn't for Glenda Caesar, if it wasn't for Desmond Jadu, Clive Foster, Nigel Guy, Rachel Okelu, Jackie McKenzie, all of you, all those people Paulette Wilson, oh my God, Anthony, all those people that showed us that we have to fight for everybody. And those 50 people that they want to deport, which I still don't get. How can you say they're not Windrush? How can you say they're not Windrush if you're deporting them to Jamaica? We got to do something by next week. And I think we got to protest. I really do. Because if this doesn't change by, I think Monday, we've got to do something. We can't sit down and let that deportation take place. So
let's
again, I could talk all night, but
I know, but we're out of time. But for those who want to do something for Tuesday, what can they do?
Email us, call us, email me, email Anthony.
Website.
The Preston Windrush website is www.prestonwindrush.co.uk, or the email is info@prestonwindrush.co.uk. Oh God, I can't remember WD Legal. I'm trying to WD Legal. The telephone number for Preston Windrush is 07564 732 983, and then on the website there is a questionnaire. I've got to get this out. There is a questionnaire. If you've been affected by anything in your life, whether it's Windrush, whatever, and you need an advocate, you need someone to stand in your corner, you need someone to help you, fill in that questionnaire. If it's about Windrush, if it's about your status, if it's about being in limbo and you're not getting the help, fill in the questionnaire. And I promise you, Anthony or myself or someone in this great network, there's loads of us now, absolutely loads, we can help you. And we're all around the country.
Okay, Joe, Glenda, well, we're probably at the chance of maybe being upset enough for you, but I'll save the best to the last. I don't think anything going to happen with that.
Free talk, you got to come on free talk. You want to hear Anthony next week? We've got an intergenerational, oh my God, an epic, as Joan would say, a free talk next week. It's called Bridging the Gap. So I'm calling out, and I think Anthony will bag me on this. We were all the young people in Preston. Come on the call, free talk. It's and let's get together with us older ones, and let's see what we can do for the Windrush generation and descendants.
Okay,
that's great for next week.
Thank you for that.
Breaking news for you. Martin Ford says he'll come and do a free talk.
All right. Well, that's a good. Is that a good?
Wow.
Is that a good thing to?
It's something that we've been trying to get for a while.
Yeah. Wait. Well, do you know what's good about that is because as we're in Little Preston, they say it's a city, and I remember when me and Sakina went to Westminster last year, and the reason why we went to Westminster was because it wasn't being talked about how the young people, our children, like my children, Sakina's like my son's age. I've got 3 children. And God forbid, if anything happens to us, what is going to happen to our children? No, seriously, think about it. Don't think and sit there comfortable thinking, oh, well, I'm all right. I got my job. I got my car. If God forbid, if you should die today, your children aren't safe because they could be on a plane going to Jamaica, Dominica, Antigua, Ghana, Nigeria. Trust me. Time people woke up and started thinking about the future.
Brilliant. Okay, Joe, Glenda, thank you very much.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Anthony, for having us.
And yes, we will most definitely do it again. And I'll come in on that other one that you just mentioned.
Yeah, we didn't get to talk about terrific mentoring, but that'll be for another time.
Don't worry, you've got me in trouble.
When we come back, the deportations wouldn't have happened, and everyone will have their compensation.
Okay. You've all got me in trouble. I've gone over time. Yeah, so you might have to be writing letters to support me.
Yes, the letters.
All right then, guys. Thank you very much.
And Granada reports. We want Granada reports.
Okay, you take care.
Thank you for having me.
I think.
Thank you,
You're
Anthony,
welcome.
for being such a
You're welcome.
gracious
You're
host.
welcome. Okay, there we go. We've got all those people there doing some amazing work with the Windrush. It's not gone away, like I said. And yeah, if you can get involved, you can try and find out about this petition. You can go on, like Glenda said, www.prestonwindrush.org.uk, and there is a number also 07564 76258, and support that positive cause that they're doing. Also WD Legal, you can go and find out and get support. There's quite a few projects that they talked about there that are out there to support. They're definitely doing some genuine work, definitely working from the heart. There's no excluded group that can't get involved. If you've got a heart, you've got a conscience, get involved. They're there. Yeah, thank you very much. So next week we're going to be doing a UK US link. We're going to be talking to a police officer from the US and a police officer from the UK. And yeah, we're going to have a good conversation. So again, thank you very much, and take care. See ya. Bye.